Alright, I guess we should get started then. I have no idea if Rusty's coming or not. I think I forgot to put a announcement in Discord, but oh well. Minor openings are cool. They are. So, last time what we talked about is we continue talking about major suit openings and our follow-ups to them. So, I'm going to review that and then I'm going to jump into the minors as we complete yet another section on the card. So we just talked about simple raises for starters. So I mean, our whole bidding system is like, the key for defining your major raises is about defining your 3 level bids. And there's a few different options out there. There's fit jumps, there's just straight invitational, there's Bergen raises, which people will criticize, but I don't think is necessarily a terrible thing. So I was just using that for this, especially because that's where the system notes for this come from, and you're free to pursue whatever route you take. They're all perfectly acceptable bids, and I play different ones with different people. So this one would just be a standard raise here. North would open 1 spade. Let's just assume that East would not barge in with some club bid. That was not a great way to deal these two hands out. I just kind of randomized it, but no, East should not have a good 7-card club suit because they're going to bid 3 clubs. So 1 spade, and then South would just raise to 2. And now what North can do if they're interested in game, and they could make a game try, but then again, this is kind of not a great shape to make a game try on. You could bid 2-0 as like a follow-up to see where your partner is. So over to 2-0, South has got a 9 count with 3, which probably is a max, especially with a doubleton. So with this hand, the best bid would be to bid 3 hearts, which would show a 3-card max without shortness. Now, if you had shortness, you would just jump to it at the 4 level. But as they don't, they would bid 3 of the other major, because repeating the major is just showing a minimum like 4-card raise. That wasn't even good enough to make a Bergen raise. So 3 hearts here would be the best follow-up to that 2-0 ask. And now with 16, North would probably go to game, which is a very good spot here. Then, of course, we also talked about Bergen raises. The idea, there's reverse Bergen, there's regular Bergen. I don't really see an advantage of one over the other, so I was just going with standard when I was doing my examples. And so this would be a 1-spade opener. South, this is a 9 count. It's a 9 count with a doubleton. You might treat this as invitational. You might just take it as a constructive raise. I would probably take it as constructive, honestly. And it would go 1 spade, and then South would bid 3 clubs. Now, if North is still interested, which maybe with this 15 count you are, you might park it, you might not. But if you were, you could bid 3 diamonds as a follow-up ask, saying, where are you on the hand? With the objective being that your partner signs off in 3 if they're at the bottom range, and goes to 4 if they're at the top. As it turns out here, 4 spades would make because the heart's on side, but, I could totally understand if you were just in 3 because, this is a balanced 15 count. Heck, it's probably even a no trump opener if you want to play it that way. And I probably should take away this jack of clubs because I would open this a no trump myself. Once again, another poor example from yours truly when I was doing these. But yeah, that 3 diamond ask, if you wanted to do it, South would go to 4 here because they're at the top, and then you would be there. But I would perfectly understand people signing off in 3 with this hand, considering it's a 15 count with like no extra shape or anything. Jury, of course, definitely necessary for 3rd and 4th seed openers. Gives you the ability to open light. Do not ignore this dealer sign. I don't really know how to change it. I guess you have to like move through the boards. But assume that South is a dealer here and North opens in 3rd chair with 1 spade. South would now bid 2 clubs because we only play one way. Reverse jury. And we still keep Bergen on actually because it's part of like our thinking that Law of Told Tricks helps us more often than not, even though we don't go out of our way to abuse it either. So go 1 spade, 2 clubs. And now North with a 14 count might sign off just because it's a 5-3-3-2, but if they were to do a follow-up, they could bid 2 diamonds here, which would ask them South to further describe, what they had here. And if they did, South would bid 2-0, which shows like 11 to 12 balanced. If you just had a minimum jury bid, you would sign off by bidding 2 of the major. But here with extras, you could bid 2-0 to show balanced. If you had a suit that you had values in, you could just bid that suit. and that allows you to, get to some tighter games. Here it actually seems like 4 spades would make because everything's in a favorable position, but kind of like the last hand, it's just because everything is in a favorable position. More often than not, especially at match points, you would probably go low there. Then we talked about Jacoby 2-0, and I talked about how I think a modified Jacoby system is more important than regular Jacoby. I think it's more important to find a way to show your strength in addition to showing your shape, whereas regular Jacoby really just prioritizes showing shape and kind of leaves the point count in the dust. So my suggestion, of course, is over 2-0 to make 3 clubs be any minimum hand, and then there's a bunch of relays that are built into that for asking for shape and everything, and then basically any other bid other than 3 clubs shows some non-minimum with some type of shape. So 1 spade by North. South with a opening hand and 4 trumps would bid 2-0. North with a 16 count is not minimal. Wait, that's a 17 count. 17 count, I'm sorry. So they would show a non-min with shortness, which in the system I'm recommending is 3 diamonds. South would bid 3 hearts, which is a follow-up to ask for what their shape is. And then North would bid 4 clubs, which is a short diamond. The idea being that if you were to bid the direct step over to the ask, that would be showing a void, and then the next step would ask for where that void is. Whereas if you skip that next step, you would actually be showing singletons up the line. So 3-0 there would be a club void, a singleton. So 4 clubs becomes a diamond singleton. And that could set South off to the races. Not too much wastage there with King Dub. As it turns out here, 6 spades is a very good contract. So that type of ask where you can get power in addition to shape leads you to some very good contracts. I always could bring out that hand from the Las Vegas Nationals last summer where my partner and I got to a very good grand as a result of that, where we had voids in each other's second suit, and we were able to find a very good grand where the majority of the room was not able to find it, in a good field too. It's one of my more favorite auctions as of late. Then we talked about what to do after the opponents interfere with the double. Transfers over a major suit double have gained a lot of traction in like the so-called expert standard community. It allows a lot of right siding because of course the strong hand is still concealed, whereas you'll be the weaker hand. It's pretty powerful and you don't really lose anything out of it. So on this hand, for example, let's say North opens a spade, and then East has a definition of a takeout double. May not necessarily make it being 4-3-3, but let's just say for all intents and purposes they do. And with this hand, South would bid 2 diamonds, a transfer to hearts. Obviously you got to do this with a good suit, especially when it's the other major. When you're opening a major, I mean, if that's the case, you definitely have to have a long heart suit here and a decent one because more often than not, they're going to have at least 4 hearts. So 2 diamonds here, leading to a very good 2-heart contract for North-South, with the advantage of keeping this hand concealed and not being able to be led through so easily. And then the caveat that comes out of the transfer system is the different ways you can show support. Whereas, if you bid the suit directly versus transferring into your suit, most people play that transferring into the suit shows a stronger hand than just directly raising the suit. So what we can play there is that transferring into the opening suit is showing like a limit raise or better, whereas just bidding the suit directly is just a standard constructive raise. So for example here, North opens a spade. This hand is better double than the one I just presented earlier. So this East would double. Now South with 11 count would bid 2 hearts to transfer to spades. Now if North had anything extra, they would potentially be able to go for game, but just with a minimum they would sign off in 2 spades. But the key thing is that 2 heart bid shows a better hand than if South were just to bid 2 spades directly, which would be a little bit weaker. Okay, I think in that case we're good to go with continuing on where we left off. Obviously, if we take a look at our convention card and where we've gotten to this point, you will see that we've made our way through the no trump section. We traversed the major section last time, and obviously the next logical point is to cover the minors. With covering the minors, you don't have to cover too much about the raises and the openings because it's kind of straightforward. But there's a lot of side conventions that can come with minor major sequences that are worth discussing, and is the majority of what we're going to talk about today. So, sorry, that is the wrong lesson. Let's go up one. So, I don't play short club. Um, I normally just play standard for the minor suit openers. If I've got 4-4 in the majors, and 3 diamonds and 2 clubs, I open that hand 1 diamond. That's that's the unicorn hand. The only time I would open diamonds with a 3-bagger. And then of course, every other situation. If I'm 3-3 in the minors, I'm opening a club. If I'm 4-4, I'm opening a diamond, so on and so forth. I just play regular stuff there. I don't really see a huge advantage just short club. I mean, I could totally understand people who want to play it. Having the ability to guarantee 4 diamonds, I guess, can be useful. Although at the same time, you normally have 4 diamonds 99% of the time anyway. So I don't really see what there is to gain from it unless you want that assurance for whatever reason. So I'm just going to check off the 3-3 here. The key thing to talk about with the minor openings before we get into the side conventions is talking about the way you can play your raises. So I'm a big fan of inverted minors. That's obviously if you play 2/1, you should be playing inverted minors where, just directly raising the suit 1 level shows a much better hand than, what you normally would play in standard American bridge where you would jump to show a limit raise and so on and so forth. So, some people have different ways of how they play the inverted raise, whether it's a limit raise or better, or if it's straight game forcing. If you play crisscross in the minors, just kind of like how we were talking about last time with the majors where you're showing a limit raise, I do the same thing with the minors where you jump shift in the other minor this time to show a limit raise, like 1 club, 2 diamonds, or 1 diamond, 3 clubs should be a limit raise in support of the minor. Of course, there with the club opening, you should probably have 5 of them. With the diamond opening, you might have 4. I mean, there's so many times you're guaranteeing at least 4 diamonds that you don't get hurt by supporting with 4. So I play crisscross, showing a limit raise, which means that my standard just inverted raise is game forcing. The follow-ups to inverted are pretty straightforward. The idea being, if you can only stop, and this is something I probably should have put in the notes before, so I'm doing this as we type it up. If you can only stop 1 major, show that stopper. And then if you can stop both majors, bid no trump. That's the basic idea. Once you start the game force, your first objective is to find no trump if that's your best spot. So, if you can stop 1 major, you show that stopper, and then if your partner can stop the other major, they know you can be a no trump. Like if you have a heart stopper but nothing in spades and you opened a diamond, after that inverted raise to 2 diamonds, you would bid 2 hearts to show a heart stopper but deny spades. And that way, if your partner can stop spades, they can find no trump. And then, of course, if you can stop both majors, you can bid no trump yourself. And of course, if you can do neither of those, you just repeat your minor or bid some other suit that might help partner out. There really isn't a lot of prioritization on stopping the other minor with the inverted raise. Of course, you can definitely ask for it. Like you could, for example, 1 diamond, 2 diamonds, 2 no, showing both majors are stopped. No necessary guarantee of the clubs. The responder who initiated the inverted minor ask could bid 3 clubs, kind of like saying, do you have clubs stopped? I'm concerned about this. If we don't, we probably shouldn't be playing no trump. That way, if you can't stop it, then you might pull out of no trump and be in your minor instead. There are times where you could have 2 dead clubs versus a singleton, and you wouldn't want to be in a no trump contract where if they get off to the other minor lead, you're going to get torched. So being able to query for a stopper in the other minor is useful there, even though we don't prioritize it with the initial follow-up to the inverted raise. And then the other thing is for mixed raises. Now, a mixed raise is a little hard to do with inverted minors because we play 1 of a minor, 3 of a minor as just traditionally weak. Some people do play it as mixed, but the one way that I play a mixed raise is 1 of a minor, 2 spades. You lose a weak jump shift, but as you'll find out with a lot of what I talk about over majors and minors, I really don't play weak jump shifts. If I'm going to bid, I'm going to bid the suit at the 1 level and treat it as a forcing bid, and I'll suffer the consequences. We play conventions that allow us to duck out even after a jump to 2-0, for example, so I'm not really at risk of getting buried. by responding light and removing weak jump shifts from my arsenal. So the way I do it is I play one of a minor, two spades as a mixed raise. Basically saying you've got like, sorry, my headphones are getting tied under me. So one of a minor, two spades being a mixed raise, showing like a constructive raise with support for the minor. Because constructive raise is like the one hand type that's kind of lost with the inverted minor structure. You know, if you play your limit raise with the crisscross, your standard raise being game forcing, and you know your jump being weak. You know that the constructive raise is like the one hand you lose. So that's what we're doing here with this mixed raise. So one of a minor, two spades, showing that type of hand. Now your partner can judge appropriately where you need to be. The one cool caveat that I've made from this in some partnerships is, let's say the minor opening is one diamond. Not necessarily does two spades just have to be a mixed raise in support of diamonds. Let's say you had an invitational hand with long clubs. Of course, you can't show an invitational hand with long clubs easily. I mean, because three clubs would be crisscross. And I mean, your only other option is to bid one no trump and suffer the consequences. So if you have like an invitational hand with long clubs, and you know you play straight 2/1 game forcing, and you don't play suit rebid being non-forcing in that situation, you really don't have a way to show that hand. So one of a minor, two spades in that case, like 1/1 diamond, could either be, you know, the mixed raise in support of diamonds, or just like an invitational hand with clubs. And then you can use 2-no as a follow-up there, asking your partner, did you intend this as, you know, the long invitational club hand, or did you intend this as a mixed raise? So there you can bid 3 clubs to show a long invitational clubs, and 3 diamonds just being a standard mixed raise. Of course, you don't need this over a club opening and diamonds, because of course there you could just respond 1 diamond. So that's kind of like why you might need that over a diamond opening. It's one caveat that comes from the system, because you can't bid 3 clubs as a straight invitational bid, and you may not really want to bid no trump at risk of having that get passed. So one thing I did miss there is that one of a minor, 3 of a minor should be a weak raise as a part of the inverted structure. Two-way new minor forcing is the first convention that we're going to visit with the minor suit openings. I think two-way new minor forcing, and the part that comes as a part of it with XYZ, is a bit of a good improvement over regular new minor forcing. The big change is that 2 clubs always forces 2 diamonds over you know 1 no trump, whereas 2 diamonds is always a game force. It's not like what normal new minor forcing, where you have to bid the other minor to show that type of hand. You actually you don't necessarily have the ability to play 2 clubs, like 1 club, whatever, 1 no trump. 2 clubs is no longer just a drop. It's now forcing 2 diamonds. You lose the ability to play 2 diamonds, but you have the ability to really properly convey invitational hands and game forcing hands, which is why I think it's such a powerful convention. It's a small price to pay. I mean, you don't get to play 2 clubs that often. It's not like they let you get away with that. So you don't lose too much by doing that. XYZ is an extension to two-way new minor forcing. You know, typically with new minor forcing, you play that the ass begins over 1 no trump, but XYZ extends that with any 1-level auction with 3 bids. That doesn't necessarily just end in 1 no trump, like a club, a heart, a spade. XYZ is on. So it's the same thing: 2 clubs forcing 2 diamonds, and 2 diamonds being a game force. Now, there's of course there's some, you know, auctions that we need to visit there. So let's just take a look at the normal one of a minor, 1 of a major, 1 no trump. Of course, the same thing would apply over 1 club, 1 diamond, 1 no trump, or even 1 heart, 1 spade, 1 no trump, because it's 3 1-level bids, and we're talking XYZ here. So 2 clubs forces 2 diamonds to either show a hand that's weak in diamonds or just a regular invite. So 2 clubs which forces 2 diamonds. If you were to pass there, you're basically weak with diamonds. And let's say you have a hand like with 6 diamonds, 4 hearts, and like an 8 count. You know, your partner opens a club, you bid a heart, now your partner bids a no trump. Obviously, you know, the heart fits off the table. Now you could bid 2 clubs, and then your partner makes the forced response to 2 diamonds, and you can pass saying, you know what, we didn't have hearts, but I have this. I think this is the best spot to play. So you still get the ability to play 2 diamonds there by going through that 2 club relay. Um, if you were to bid anything else, it would be invitational, including no trump. One of a minor, let's say like one club, one heart, one no, two clubs forcing, two diamonds. Two hearts is just like five or more hearts with an invitational hand. You know, your partner can pull the no trump, they can raise, they can go to game, whatever properly conveys the type of hand they have. And like I said, no trump could be included in that. So one club, one heart, one no, two no should mean something different instead of going through two clubs, forcing two diamonds, and then two no. Remember, it's redundancy, so they should mean two different things. And then three clubs directly over that two diamonds should be like a limit raise in clubs. So one club, one heart, one no trump. Two clubs forcing two diamonds, three clubs should show, like a limit raise in clubs. Of course, having hearts, because you have hearts, you're not going to go through crisscross. Going through crisscross denies a 4-card major, so that's like the way that you could show a limit raise there. Two diamonds being a game force over that auction, or after any 3 1-level bids. Priority should just be like standard new minor forcing, where your first priority is to show 4 cards in the other major, then 3 cards in your partner's major, and then so on and so forth to describe your hand. That's pretty straightforward. Like I said, because you have the ability to show an invite in no trump by going through the 2 club relay, one of a minor, one major, one no, two no should show something different. So I play that as showing like a constructive raise in clubs. And then 3 clubs being like a preemptive raise. My mic is really staticky. Anybody else noticing that? I can try plugging it in again. One sec. Let me try to untangle some stuff. My wires are kind of getting jammed here. Alright, that should be better. I got my wires unfrayed. I think I was fine before, but this should be good now. I'm gonna make a denial ad. I'm gonna deny support for wheelie chairs, because wheelie chairs with my headset kind of get everything stuck between the wheels, which is a mess. So 1 minor, 1 heart, 1 no, 2 clubs, 2 diamonds, 2 spades shows 4-4 in the majors, invite. And if you swap hearts and spades, 5-4 in the majors. Yeah, you would be... Well, I will say, it depends on your style. What I play with my partners is I play an up-the-line system. I play an up-the-line system in that one of a minor, 1 heart, 1 no trump denies 4 spades. And if you're denying 4 spades with 1 no trump, there really wouldn't be much use for 2 spades to show 4-4, right? Because you're not interested in a 4-4 spade fit. You can't have a 4-4 spade fit. So that should mean something different if you play it that way, which I do with some people. Now, if you play what is gaining traction in like the expert community, where 1 minor, 1 heart, 1 spade shows an unbalanced hand and 1 no trump can contain 4 spades, then that action makes complete sense. But it really is a thing of style. If you play up the line and you would bid a spade and no trump denies 4 spades, then having that auction show 4-4 in the majors invitational doesn't really make a lot of sense, because you would be going for a fit that you can't have. But yes, if you were to swap hearts and spades, that should be a 5-4. Totally agree with that one. So this funny jump that I was talking about is kind of similar to what we were doing with no trump, where we were bidding Stayman with weak 6-4 hands, minor, major, minor, just to see if we had the major fit, and then bidding 3 of a minor as a drop. Same kind of thing here. Obviously, now you just jump the 3 clubs, like one heart, 1 club, 1 heart, 1 no. 3 clubs would be a jump, showing like I've got 5 or 6 clubs, had 4 hearts, but I have a weak hand. Let's just play 3 clubs, because you can't play 2 clubs with XYZ, or two-way new minor forcing, as we're alluding to it here. Versus a passed hand, obviously there's no need to have two-way new minor forcing, because you're not going to have a game force unless you didn't look at your hand properly the first time. So in that case, we just play regular one-way new minor forcing. The next convention that's worth examining is reverse Flannery. Handling hands with 5 spades and 4 hearts over one of a minor with anything less than an invite is very difficult to show. And so reverse Flannery is a convention that allows you to, that assists you in being able to do so. The basic idea is that one of a minor, 2 hearts, shows a hand with at least 5 spades, at least 4 hearts, and less than 10 points. If you have anything better than that, if you have anything stronger than 10 points, you can show an invite or a game force, and you can really properly show your hand. But with less, it becomes a little convoluted to show that hand type, and I don't really like how the robots play it, where one of a minor, 1 spade, 1 no, 2 hearts is a drop. I think that's not the best way to play it. So this 2 heart jump, you lose the weak jump shift to 2 hearts, but like I said, at this point, most of our weak jump shifts after major and minor suit openings are completely conventional. So similar thing here. So this 2 heart jump shows 5 or more spades, 4 or more hearts, and less than 10 points. If you have an invite, you can go through 2 clubs XYZ. So 1 club, 1 spade, 1 no, 2 clubs forcing 2 diamonds, 2 hearts. That's a 5-4 invite, like P. Minglo was just referring to. With the 5-4 game force, you can just go through standard 2 diamonds game forcing. 1 club, 1 spade, 1 no, 2 diamonds. If you have 5-4 invite, your partner would now bid 2 hearts as their first priority if they had 4 of them. And if they didn't, they would next try to show their spades, and then if they didn't have that, they would bid no trump, just like standard new minor forcing. Which kind of leaves the last hand type, the 5-5 game force, as the 2 heart bid. 1 club, 1 spade, 1 no, 2 hearts, because with the 5-4 game force, you could have gone through 2 diamonds game forcing. Bidding 2 hearts directly over 1 no trump should show a 5-5 game force. Now, if your partner's got 3 hearts, of course, they know how to judge his hand properly. That's kind of a point of redundancy. That could be your 5-4 weak bid if you didn't want to play reverse Flannery, but I'm saying reverse Flannery is worth it, so that's why, I'm removing that redundancy and using 2 hearts directly over 1 no as 5-5 versus 5-4. 2 no can be a follow-up ask in response to the reverse Flannery jump to kind of judge, where you are in the hand, whether you're minimal and whether you're exactly 5-4 or not. So the responses I like to play to that, and there's a bunch of different responses out there for this. So, if I give a link, you're going to see different things. 3 clubs, a 5-4 min, 3 diamonds, a 5-4 max. And then, if you have like different shape, like 5-5 or even 6-4, you could bid 3 hearts to show a min, and then 3 spades to be your max there. Anything in the range of, I would probably say this is like 5 to 10 points. So, like maybe 5 to 7 or a bad 8, and then, 8 to 10, and similarly for 3 hearts on 3 spades. So I think that's a very worthwhile convention, and kind of helps you solve some problems that you have with showing less than invitational hands with 5 spades and 4 hearts over major minor. The last convention that's worth probably talking about in this episode, as a continuation of the major minor, is the spiral ask. It also the spiral ask is very powerful in to find where your partner is on the hand. The other thing is, you'll see that a lot of people raise on 3-card suits when they're stuck, when their partner responds a major to their minor opener. Like, say I have a hand with the singleton spade, 3 hearts, 4 diamonds, and 5 clubs. And some people choose to open this hand a minor to rebid 2 clubs to kind of like unjam themselves, but other people like to open their longer minor, and let's just say your club suit was way better than your diamond suit, and you opt to open a club there. I think Mayjester is chucking matches, by the way. If anybody wants to check on that. Anyway, Uh, major, minor, major, two of a major. The ability to raise on 3 cards is very powerful in those situations. Like, because you have the Spiral Ask as a way to have a follow-up to judge what type of raise was made there. Um, one of a minor, one of a major, two of a major, just a standard raise. 2-no becomes an ask about that raise, and then you can have different responses for what types of hands you raised on there. 3 clubs, a min 3-card raise. 3 diamonds, a max. And then you have the same thing for 4-card raises, 3 hearts and 3 spades. That way you can show your length in addition to your strength. So like, for 3-card raises, for example, if 3-no is your next most logical spot, if you don't have an actual fit there, you can bid 3 diamonds as the follow-up to that. And then, be in 3-no trump. And then for 4-card raises, you can judge whether you should stop in 3 or you should be in 4. You could also include some extra stuff into there. Like 3-no, for example, could be a max 4-card raise with the willingness to play 3-no, like maybe your 4-3-3, or your like 4-4-3-2 with just your other suits outside of the major stopped. That way, if match points you want to be in 3-no trump, you can. And then, of course, like a jump to 4 of a suit should be like a splinter, a max 4-card raise with shortness in that suit. That way, your partner can judge if there might be a slam on the table or not. So the Spiral Ask is a great way for major, minor, or minor, major sequences to find what strain and what level you should belong in on that hand, and you have the follow-up responses. You don't really lose anything because, you're not going to really want to try to play 2-no after minor major, so might as well build that into the system. So if we take a look at what we've talked about so far, a double raise weak after overcall still weak. Jump shift in the other minor is forcing because it's crisscross. Limit raise. Single raise is game forcing. And for filling out the other stuff, I'm going to talk about these two a little bit. 2-no is a standard invite. I don't think some people play 2-no as game forcing. I'm not a big fan. I play that as just straight invitational, and then 3-no being, an actual game forcing hand. I don't really see a reason to change that up. The one point worth mentioning at the end is about 1 club, 1 no trump, which is what this thing right here is referring to, 1 no over 1 club. Some people have a lot of different ideas on this, whether it should be, just your standard like 6 to 10 range, or whether it should be something more constructive. Others like to play it like as something like 7 or 8 to 10, and then if they have less with a balanced hand, they temporize with 1 diamond. So diamond isn't always necessarily guaranteeing diamonds in that sequence. You could just have like a 6 to 7 balanced hand that couldn't bid 1 no trump. I don't think it's a bad idea to play it that way. Either way is, I think, perfectly acceptable. I think, one no trump being 8 to 10 there is probably the more popular thing among the higher level players, but I don't see it as necessarily a huge shift in like your system. But it's worth having a discussion with your partner, at least. After all, it is a bid on this convention card. I'll put in 8 to 10, but you're subject to do what you want. And then last thing to talk about with the minor section is whether you frequently bypass for card diamond suits or not. That's really just a reflection if you play up the line or not. Like, for example, in some up the line systems, if your partner's always going to bid a major after your minor opening, if they have 4 of them, and not bid 1 no trump, then you don't have to frequently bypass it. But if you're going to do that to show unbalanced hands, then you probably should check this box off. I'm just going to keep it unchecked. It's really a thing of partnership style. I play it both ways. A lot of people, for example, will say with a 1 bid hand, you should probably bid the major. And you could definitely do that still with 2-way new minor forcing and XYZ, because you can always just relay in the 2 diamonds if you're bypassing it the first time. And of course, if you have a strong hand, you could just start with 1 diamond and gauge where you belong from there. So that's really all I got to say there. I think that's I know I went through this pretty quickly as usual, because I keep blowing past lessons quickly, but I think that's a logical stopping point. So today we talked about the minor section, the minor openings, more importantly like the raise structure and like the other conventions that come out of a minor opening. So we have 1 minor, 2 spades being mixed or invitational clubs, and then we would also put in here, I don't have room necessarily, I guess it would go down here, reverse Flannery and Spiral Ask. And so, oh, two-way new minor forcing, we get to check that one off. And look at that, we're making some progress. So in the next lesson, I'm going to plan on covering the 2-level openings, like 2 clubs and weak 2s and how I like to respond to that. I'm also probably going to get into the other conventional calls section and talk about conventions that apply here and probably don't make sense in other sections here. So I'll bring that up, and then, we'll make our way to the second side of the card. About halfway through. Slowly but surely, we're making our way there. So you can find the video for this. I will clip it. I will put it on my YouTube channel. You can find that using the YouTube command. And as always, the notes that I'm maintaining and any questions that you want to ask, you can do that on the Discord channel, which you can find using the Discord command. Thank you guys. I think that's a logical stopping point. For those who are just interested in streaming, I'm going to continue on. And if you're just interested in this, you'll be able to see it later. Thank you guys. Let me get some of these matches recorded in our spreadsheet so we can